Holy Gospel according to St. Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. Chapter 6, verses 17 to 29. At that time, Herod sent and seized John and bound him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because he had married her. For John had been saying to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." And Herodias had a grudge against him and wanted to put him to death. But she could not, for Herod feared John, knowing that he was a righteous and holy man, and he kept him safe. When he heard him, he was greatly perplexed, and yet he heard him gladly. But an opportunity came when Herod on his birthday gave a banquet for his nobles and military commanders and the leading men of Galilee. For when Herodias' daughter came in and danced, she pleased Herod and his guests. And the king said to the girl, "Ask me for whatever you wish, and I will give it to you." And he vowed to her, "Whatever you ask me, I will give you, up to half of my kingdom." And she went out and said to her mother, "For what should I ask?" And she said, "The head of John the Baptist." And she came in immediately with haste to the king and asked, saying, "I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter." And the king was exceedingly sorry, but because of his oaths and his guests, he did not want to break his word to her. And immediately the king sent an executioner with orders to bring John's head. He went and beheaded him in the prison, and brought his head on a platter and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard of it, they came and took his body and laid it in a tomb. The Gospel of the Lord. Dear friends in Christ Jesus, a wonderful reading again, and we have a very strong reading from Prophet Jeremiah, which says, "Be bold, go out there, dress up, be strong, and you are going to speak to the people whatever I am going to tell you." And this gospel reading again, we have reflected on the beheading of John the Baptist on his birthday. If you want to also, you can go back to that sermon, it is there. You can go through for other details, but today I would like to focus a bit more on another direction. What exactly went wrong here in this whole beheading of John the Baptist? Of course, yes, it is the will of God that John died for the sake of the kingdom, but we also see how the innocent very many times are sacrificed for the sake of people who are evil-minded. Here we see a lot of things involved. But the one who comes and asks to Herod for the head of the John the Baptist is a little girl, a teenager, the one who cannot actually decide on her own. She goes and consults her own mother, and the mother is the one who makes use of this opportunity to tell this girl to ask for the head of the John the Baptist. And I'm sure that this girl was not going to do anything with the head of the John the Baptist. It was going to be disgusting, or to say it's very, very scaring. But what really happens when we seek for guidance to wrong people, when we keep people who are evil-minded around us, very many times our decisions will become very fateful. All of us are leaders in some way or other. We will be in institutions, we will be in the families, we will be among the friends, anywhere for that matter. We do make decisions, but how do we come to make a decision? Usually based on the inputs that we receive from the people whom do we trust. Generally, who are the ones whom we trust, the ones whom we rely on, whomever at least appear to be as reliable people. But if we are not careful, They might give us input, they might tell us, they might ask us to make a decision which is completely away from God. Here we see how Herodias guiding this teenager to make a blunder, and of course this teenager goes and asks Herod, and of course the whole responsibility is on the king, Herod. But you see so many other people are involved. So we cannot finally say, I believed in my people, I believed in my friends, I believed in the ones who gave me guidance, that's why I made a mistake. We cannot shift the blame, because the end blame is on us, whomever makes that decision. That is the reason why we have to have the right type of people around us. And how do we find out? Very many times, we find out the truth at the last minute, or when everything is over. We have to constantly keep our ears, our eyes open. We need to allow people to come in. We should also allow people whom we think as our enemies to us. The truth always comes from the source which we may not even expect. That is why the discernment always should happen at the feet of the Lord. Yes, Herodias instigated this little girl, and the little girl comes and asks to Herod, but Herod should decide, he should discern. If you see, most of the blunders that we commit in our lives are because someone else comes and gives us some guidance. One uncle, one auntie, one priest, one nun, one brother, whomever, they come to us and give us, feed us with information and project someone in the bad light or good light, whatever, and then we get carried away by their opinions. We make a decision, we make blunder, and nothing can actually repair the blunder that we make. And my dear friends, we are answerable in front of God. The blunder could even go to the extreme level of even removing a person from the world. This is a constant phenomena that you and I are experiencing. So what is the solution? The simple lesson, and a very strong lesson for all of us, is this: let us take responsibility for our actions, and let us try to make sure that we are surrounded with right people, positive people, and most importantly, let us not get instigated. For all this, every decision has to be made at the feet of the Lord. I need to discern in front of God. If I do, I will not make blunder. God will give me the strength to even oppose my closest friend and to tell him, your guidance is wrong. I am going to make this decision in front of God. I go by truth and justice, and I'm sure God will fill us with the Spirit as He filled John the Baptist and as He filled Prophet Jeremiah.